Hi everybody, this is Carrie from Expressive Style. Today we're going to be doing a sewing do-it-yourself. The inspiration comes from this winter tail Madewell scarf that retails for $58. I am a beginner sewer myself, so if you're a beginner you should be able to do this project. What you're going to need first is you're going to need to select the furs for the project. I bought 3/4 a yard, which makes 3 scarves. You're going to want to make it so that they are each 7 inches wide, and it comes in 33 inches long. Now you can adjust it if for some reason you would want a longer scarf. You could buy fabric that maybe is a little bit longer. Then you're going to need to have the interior fabric of your scarf. This looks familiar probably to some people that have read my blog. This is a jacket that I got from the thrift store. I have used it on many different projects, and this jacket was $5.99. So between the fur and this fabric, if you make 3 scarves, they're each about $5 each. Okay, stop. For the first step, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to have the fur facing up. And you're going to need to pick which side that you want to actually see on your scarf. So I want the flannel side, so you're going to put those two connected together. And then what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to take pins and sew, or just pin the edges to make sure that the fabric doesn't move when you're sewing it. Okay, I'm going to sew on the back of the fur because this the inside is hanging over, so I'm eventually going to trim that off. So I'm just going to use the back to sew. So I've already threaded my needle. I picked a color that was similar. I'm using just black. Okay, so you're just going to try to sew on the edge there. Alright, now that we have sewn that side, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to trim the excess off. Okay, so we have now sewed the one side, so if you would pull it out, it would look something like this. So what you're still going to do, and to make sure, I always go back and look to make sure my edges, how they look on the other side, and they look good. So what we're going to do is we're going to now sew the other side. Okay, and for this one I'm going to flip it over and use this edge of the plaid to help me sew it. It kind of helps me have a straight line here. I'm going to use this dark gray line to help me go down. Okay, now that we're done with that, I'm going to finish trimming up the edge here. Alright, and as you can see, it's a little bit messy. So now it's inside out. We are going to need to turn it . Alright, now it is inside out. And as you can see, it looks good. I actually made it a little bit longer. As you see, I cut this much off. It just depends on the length that you want it. This is really thick material, so in order to make it so that it can go through your sewing machine, what you're going to have to do is you're first going to sew the fur together, and then you're going to sew the flannel together. So what you're going to do is you're going to turn it inside out again with the fur. Okay. And the reason we're going to sew it this way is we have the 2 pieces of fur connected is because then you will not see the actual inside part sewn. So here you're just going to you want to make sure you get your fabric, the inside fabric, out of the way. So this is what it should look like when you're putting it under the sewing machine. And it's really thick to put under there. Okay, again, I'm new to sewing, so every time I check it out. It looks good on both sides. Okay, so then again, what I do is I just trim up the extra fur. That's why this is kind of a messy project. Okay, so now that I've trimmed that excess off, now what you want to do is you're going to sew the two flannel pieces together. Now you want to make sure that is all sewn together in all the spots. Okay, which it is. Now you're going to want to trim off the excess. Now this part is going to be seen inside, so you want to get as close as you can to the stitching, okay, and make it look as neat as possible. And make sure you cut off the extra strings. Okay. So this is the inside of our fur. Okay, so you flip it out. And now we have made our winter tail inspiration scarf for Madewell.